God of War's soft reboot is just brilliant, isn't it? You can find our review and a collection of tips and tricks already, alongside a video where me and Josh talked about how the game affects Sony's brand identity. But there's also a lot to talk about in terms of where the franchise goes from here. Once again, we're dealing with spoilers in regards to the game's secret teaser ending and where future games are likely to be set. Nothing more. So, towards the end of the game, you'll journey down into Odin's vault, uncovering a wooden plaque that shows the Norse god Tyr in possession of the Unity Stone, as he seems to have uncovered a way to travel between various mythologies and religions, as we now know them. I'm calling them mythologies and religions because that's what we refer to them as. God of War's very premise is built on Kratos wandering out of Greek mythology and into Norse mythology, yet this particular plaque shows not only the Greek symbol for great or power, the iconic Omega logo that God of War has used for years, but also the Egyptian Eye of Horus, and another two symbols that are incredibly exciting. That's 3 potential sequels set in markedly different time periods and belief systems, alongside the game's actual secret ending that cuts to black after revealing Thor, the god of thunder. Let's break these down. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 4 potential sequels God of War secretly teases. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 4, Thors Arrival and the Norse continuation. The most likely of the sequels, unless anything changes in response to the idea of using different mythologies, Sony have already confirmed that the next God of War will continue this reboot's Norse setting. God of War's secret ending, triggered by returning to the family home after the first set of credits, sees Kratos and Atreus finally get some sleep, only for some years later to pop up on screen and a ferocious thunderstorm to wake them in a panic. Kratos sprints outside where a hooded, Mjolnir-equipped Thor is standing and yells, "Who are you?" This is where we cut to black, as upon returning to gameplay, Atreus notes that it was a dream, but that it felt so real. It leaves Sony Santa Monica open to experiment. They can treat this as an eventual future, giving us another interstitial game featuring Kratos and Atreus, do any number of additional titles set wherever they fancy, or leap straight in and let Thor be the main villain for the duration. Either way, and backed by the Marvel movies making Thor a modern household name, it's great to see him here. Number 3, Egyptian mythology, Eye of Horus. As Assassin's Creed Origins is proving in abundance, there is a ton of potential to mine gameplay-wise from letting us go up against Egypt's wealth of gods and deities. Anubis, Horus, Ra, Osiris, they're almost next in line if we're talking about sets of mythologized fables and religious figures that a wider populace is aware of. Kratos remarks when looking at Tyr's plaque that all the symbols mean war, but interestingly, as you'll see with the following symbols, the Eye of Horus is supposed to represent royalty, good health, and overall protection. In the God of War canon, Kratos and Sony Santa Monica have explored that notion of godhood and absolute power only creating oppression and suppression, under the guise of doing what's right for the people. Yes, it was an excuse to lamp everybody in the face, but depending on how politicized the franchise wants to become in light of various real-world leaders straddling that same line, it could be a fascinating way to go. Number 2, Celtic Christian mythology, the Triskele. Like Far Cry 5 bringing its overblown, usually foreign shore-affiliated ways home to America, it looks like at some point God of War might see Kratos going toe-to-toe with Celtic Christian history, its figureheads, and that belief system in general. There are all sorts of Celtic gods, giants, fairies, and everything in between. You can see a beautiful depiction of them in Tom Moore's Song of the Sea, though they're seldom given the same coverage in popular media as the likes of Greek, Norse, or Egyptian mythologies. This symbol itself is a Triskele, or Triscale, I don't know how to pronounce it, though it has appeared in many forms over human history. One of the earliest forms in Irish history was at Newgrange, circa 3200 BC. More commonly thought of as a Celtic spiral, a common tattoo, it represents in this case Sony Santa Monica teasing the idea of exploring Celtic mythology, alongside fables and religion. By far the riskiest move the franchise could take, being that the Western world still takes any form of Christianity rather seriously, it does bring about the rather insane idea of, well, Kratos battering Jesus. Bring that on? Number 1, Japanese mythology, the Mitsudomo. Hey Sony, if you're listening, do this one. The Mitsudomo is representative of Japanese mythology / religious history, and though its origins are to this day impossible to identify correctly, it is a regular fixture of Shinto shrines, the common religion in Japan. It stands as an icon of belief, peace, and the cyclical nature of harmony, though enforcing such things when the gods are literally bickering amongst themselves is likely where a game would take place. Interestingly, the Ryukyu kingdom of the 15th to 19th century used this as their royal crest, and though it's highly unlikely that God of War would start introducing real-world elements like kingdoms and certain reigns, like the Eye of Horus, the Ryukyans used the Mitsudomo to represent royal blood and leadership itself. It's a neat thematic tie between cultures, if nothing more. In terms of visuals and what a God of War game set in Japanese history might look like, you need look no further than 2017's exceedingly good Nioh. Its various demons, folklore-inspired creatures, and even basic enemy types were loaded with detail, symbolism, and a level of care befitting such a rich heritage and culture. And if we're staying with Shinto worship, that's everything from wind god Fujin to Ryujin, the dragon god of sea and storms. Yes, that's the dragon god of sea and storms. Stick a Leviathan axe in me. I'm done.
Oh, wasn't that something? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe below, and also the people who made this lovely video, they're appearing right here. But if you're thinking to yourself, I want to see more content, Jules, then why not look above my head, as there probably is some. I don't know. I can't see it. Until next time.